is that he doesn't do many mistakes, and he's very aware of what's going on, and that's pretty much all you need to do on 250.
Okay.
When you get control once, and you don't do mistakes, it's over.
And here we are live into this game between Sparks and Rapha. This is the semi-final of the North American Sunday Cup, number 7 for the summer season. And Rapha, we're at a decent start. Well, it's not decent. It's all right. It's fine. It's not going to let him really be aggressive. He's got to be more reactive. And that is a great interception from Sparks. That was really good from Sparks.
And Rapha should have been more careful. Like, I was watching Rapha's POV, and I was getting concerned. I mean, I had no idea where Sparks was, but just watching it, just anybody who's played ZPN 4,000 times knows that sometimes your opponent will be jumping down towards the rocket launcher at this point in time. And Rapha somehow seemed very confident that Sparks wouldn't do it, and he paid for it. He just didn't consider that possibility. But it was kind of standard thing to do. Sparks had no rocket launcher, Sparks went for the rocket launcher. Kaboom! Rapha dies.
Yeah, very
surprised to see such a mistake from Rapha.
Yeah, we'll see how he builds from this. I mean, he was already in a position where he was out of control essentially, and he was playing reactively towards how Sparks wanted to play. Because Sparks, with the bigger stack, with the bigger arsenal, he can dictate the pace of the game. He can dictate the areas and items that Rapha can go to and choose to attack. So Rapha just is chilling right now. He wants to get to... This yellow will put him up to a situation where he can take a fight. This is not the fight he wants to take necessarily, but he has to mega the fall back onto, as you said. And wow! Hits the rail.
79
That's so
HP
huge
for Sparks at the time of impact. That is so frustrating.
Beautiful stuff.
It's very great calculation by Rapha. He seemed to feel exactly that he had enough time. Like, he had the choice of whether to try to go to the mega, back onto it, and for that to be a viable decision, he had to know that he can survive long enough to get there. And he seemed to have a very good idea that he has exactly the right amount of health to get there and survive onto it. Because of course he could have just left and gone through the teleporter. It would have been very easy. But he seemed to be very confident and very... I seemed to know exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, that play from Rapha was really the stuff dreams are made of, as it just all came together for him. He's going to find Sparks out the teleporter. He really likes this engagement, and it's because he got a lot of damage opening up on it, but it didn't turn out well for him. My God, he even committed to it there. I know a lot of people who probably would have run away before going for the shotgun fight with 7 points of health, but he knew that that margin was something that he could take. He had the confidence to go for it, and he's not in the best of positions ever, but he's alive and with one more frag. And on Blood Run, that's sometimes more than enough because you can really work your way back in the game. On yellows, we saw him do it previously. He can do it again.
And Sparks, I don't know, I haven't seen the game last week. Maybe you can fill me in. Would you say he's got, he's an aim-based player? He's got good aim? Because that's what it feels like to me after this point. He seems to always really destroy Rapha in these LG fights or these rail fights all of a sudden where you don't see it coming, and that seems to be what kind of has been giving him oh my god, great damage. It seems to be what's been giving him a chance to stay in this game. And
Rapha, I feel confident he's going to be able to survive. We'll see the red now, but he's not going to go for it. He just wants to try to, that is exactly it, deal the damage. Wow. On the pickup, and so that's beautiful from Rapha. That's all he wanted to get. He doesn't want to receive anything, and he pushes through that grenade. This is going to be under the radar. Sparks cannot think that he's going to be here. Sparks spamming some routine rockets onto the yellow, and Rapha will steal that away. And Rapha's trying to be sneaky, and it didn't really pan out, but that's fine. He's still alive, and as long as he's still alive, he can still stack together some yellows. He's going to even steal a red. Can he get away with no damage? He does. And there is a yellow for him too. So this is already a situation again where Rapha's ready to try to ambush or take a fight.
Yeah, and we've got 13 seconds until the next item, so there's plenty of time for both players to try to set up a trap. And I'm not sure where Rapha's taking this fight. Sparks seems to have way better LG, and he just destroyed Rapha in that fight. It was pretty impressive. Rapha had the better initiation, he had a great rocket, but then he pushed onto Sparks' LG, giving him better angle and an easier LG damage. And I think Rapha is just not the player. Like, if Rapha was Evil, that may be a good idea, because Evil can aim very well out of a disadvantageous position, but Rapha wouldn't really attribute that quality to him.
Sparks going to pick up another red. this map is so much down to two aspects: how well can you avoid someone out of control, how well can you catch someone when you're in control. Those are perhaps maybe the two hardest parts of Blood Run, I'd even venture to say. And Sparks, right now, he's being put to the test because he's got the stack where you're like, okay, you can check all the boxes, got the stack, got the cycle, got all the weapons. The only box I haven't checked is get the kill. And Sparks is really in that territory right now where he needs to find Rapha. And he knows where he is from hearing the grenades, but where has he gone right now? He's going to predict that maybe Rapha's going to step out onto the shotgun. He's done that before, but not this time.
And I like it a lot. Sparks is playing just the way you have to. You can't always guess right, but he's guessing right pretty often. He's dealt nice damage. This is probably enough to shave off at least one of the yellows Rapha's collected. And so far Rapha's been incredibly effective with these grenades. It's so nice. He just waited until Sparks switched away to the railgun and just pushed onto this mega.
Rapha just won mega and red. Yeah. That's crazy, dude.
And Sparks didn't even see
coming. No.
Now Sparks is very low. That was such great play by Rapha. Just a small trick. It was kind of a trick, you know. He spammed the grenades, forced Sparks to walk backwards, and then there was a lot of distance between them, so Sparks figured railgun would be the weapon of choice. And just as he shot it, Rapha just went forward on the mega. And I'm pretty sure that was sort of the plan. Like, I'm not sure he actually thought it out in this detail, but it's kind of something you just do when you're a good player, and it feels like the right thing to do without you even realizing exactly what you're doing.
And he's already made it to 42 now, so he was biding his time. Sparks is playing well, but Rapha is so patient that he was able to eventually marshal the strengths in the right moment to deal with what Sparks had to throw at him. Misses the plasma jump, the routine plasma jump. Sometimes even Rapha misses it, and he'll pick up another mega. So he's got the cycle down now, and 3 minutes left to go. Rapha can play defensively, but will he do it? It's sometimes a question of how one feels. He can play passively, play the wall of attrition, keep cycling stuff, and just wait for Sparks to come to him. Or he could get a little bit aggressive and not allow Sparks any room to breathe.
Well, it's not necessary. As long as it's not necessary, you shouldn't go defensive, because right now Sparks has a low stack, and so with the choices whether or not you just want to leave Sparks on a low stack and try to just keep pressuring him, or if you just want to disappear off the map and let Sparks stack up to 200 and then just kind of hope he doesn't find you, it seems like a way worse plan to me than what Rapha's doing, and he just keeps rotating the items, just the right thing. And it's actually a common mistake for people in the last minute or so, when they have a big stack to decide to go really defensive, when it's completely unnecessary, when your opponent has nothing at all. They just figure, right, maybe like you're playing DM13 and you're going to Plasma Gun, and there's 40 seconds left and your opponent just spawns, so hey, maybe I should just wait here. What you're doing by that is you give your opponent a chance to just get a complete stack and have one more go at it.
Whoa, direct right there from Rapha. And that's going to slow down Sparks even more. There's 4 frags to get in 90 seconds. Not looking like it's a viable thing for Sparks to try to achieve, but he's going to try regardless. Rapha with a flat rocket jump towards that yellow, just rocket jumps galore from the world champion here. The QuakeCon 2013 victor, and I mean, he's kind of just not caring about Sparks' presence. I mean, he's just been whittling him down repeatedly. Every time Sparks sees Rapha, he receives damage, and then eventually he can take no more, and Rapha's cycling everything. So
yeah, and at this point, Sparks has really no reason to play seriously, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's just running around mindlessly, just trying to hit some shots. But like me personally, at this point, I wouldn't really be thinking anymore what's going on. I wouldn't be timing items. This is pretty much over. It's just about running around a little bit. What do you think about putting a mercy limit in duels?
A mercy limit in duels? I think that
like a time-dependent mercy limit. Like say, if there's 1 minute left and the lead is 6 frags or so, or 7 frags, then it's just over. Or 8 frags, I don't know, something that is impossible.
Yeah,
so if after 5 minutes it's a 25 frag lead, it's just over. It's mercy limit. like some sort of.
Yeah, I
set.
think it could work. But you'd have to think very carefully about it, because also for each map, it would have to maybe be. Well, I guess you either get extreme and like it is 24 frags and it's like 5 minutes. Well, 25 frags in 5 minutes can be quite difficult, even against someone who's a lot worse than you. Is going to lose anyway. Sometimes, so it's. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I never saw anybody come back from 25-0.
No, nor have I. True.
20-0 or 15-0. I don't think.
I think a 15-0 I've seen on Toxicity. I've seen like games like that because sometimes you can get in 3 minutes like 10 frags.
That's true.
So I've seen some crazy stuff, but I do think there should be something. But I don't know, something we should think about. Maybe we should think about incorporating it in the future. I don't know. I mean, a lot of other games, of course, do have something similar where you can surrender or forfeiting is not seen as dishonoring the opponent, which it kind of is seen to be in Quake.
I don't think it is. It's just players just can't be arsed. Sometimes when you're losing, it feels good to just have some more time to just run around, especially when you feel like you're losing because of your aim. I like to just run around for 5 more minutes, try to shoot a little bit. Maybe it gets better. So anyway, we're off with Rapha, who collected the mega off the start and the shards, and for some reason he didn't go to the yellow. I'm surprised at that. Perhaps he anticipated Sparks to be there with Rail, in which case I can totally understand that, and it actually makes sense. Now I probably would have gone for the solo, but I can totally see why he didn't, and that is great damage output from Sparks on the first frag.
And that's the difference with Evil. Would Evil have dodged those rockets? Probably. Would he have hit more LG?
Perhaps. It was a bad fight to take.
Yeah, there was nowhere to dodge really, so
yeah.
It was definitely questionable from Rapha, but he went down a frag on Blood Run as well at the start, and then he fell back into his routine.
It's really odd. Why is Rapha playing so aggressively? Like the second frag was so unnecessary to give away. Third he kind of got caught, but here, I feel like a lot of people don't play defensively as well as it's possible, because I have the impression that you could really play it incredibly good defensively, like in a way that you could probably run away with one frag for the whole game, just because there's a lot of positions. First of all, you can easily get a stack as the player of control, and second of all, there's so many advantageous positions and corners you can camp around that it sometimes even makes sense to just play defensive when you're losing, just because you often catch your opponent on this map.
Yeah, it's an interesting map from the perspective of how much armor's on it as well. You can survive. It's very deceptive how long you can survive, and some of the corners you have to work with, and the corners as well are so high up. Well, we have this frag happening from Rapha there as he wins the red armor, and he should have a good contestation on Mega 2. But the corners where the green armors are, the defense rockets, if you hit a good rocket, you can bounce someone off the level. Yeah. So it's like actually really cool defensively to play around there. So yeah, it's really interesting. Rapha going to take another fight. He's basically going to win this Mega, and there's no rail for Sparks. Sparks goes down from the pinpoint rail of Rapha as he now chases. There's nothing Sparks can do here. Gets completely caught there, and after what could be considered a shambles at the beginning for Rapha, he's turning things around. It's getting more organized, and he's going to pick up even another frag here, and he doesn't take much damage doing so. The yellow will be there for him, and he will stand in good stead for the next red armor. Most likely will leave the mega health up for grabs and try to get a bearing on Sparks.
Yeah, and this might be difficult with the mega and the red both spawning at about the same time. He's trying to leave the mega up, go for the red first, but in my experience it's very difficult to get both items, because your opponent can just position himself in so many different areas where you're between the two items. You can either be on the lower level or on the middle level and on the top level. And if you're on the top level first, you can drop down to the lower level. So it's so hard to really check every possible spot. So that most of the time you just gotta accept that your opponent is gonna get one of the items. So red up in 4 seconds. Rapha surely aware.
Yeah, you heard that jump, didn't he? Heard that jump from Sparks.
I'm not sure, I haven't heard it.
And so the Mega's up on the spot. He should realize it's safe to take soon, but he wants to get a quick sneaky rail first, steal away the shards. So much armor on this map. It's very deceptive indeed. And he's gonna...
You heard Sparks top down behind him.
There it is. Drops down for the engagement. And there's nothing Sparks can do but to submit to Rapha there.
Yeah, it was really nice. Rapha pretty much just waited. And well, Sparks is being very obvious about wanting to get the LG. Second time in a row, he's storming at it. And again, this time Rapha a tiny bit too late. Might actually run out of LG ammo, like just in time for the frag. And I'm not sure why Sparks is doing this. Maybe he's got a little bit frustrated. Because surely he needs to understand that the LG is a very hard item to get. It's very easy to cover, especially when you're aware that your opponent doesn't have LG. Actually, I think LG might be the item that is way underrated on this map. I think there's it makes a lot of sense to just try and cover it and deny it from your opponent. I never tried it, but now that I think about it, it might actually be quite effective. Because without an LG on the red, you're completely hopeless.
Yeah.
Like I would never, if I hit the hard way, I would never anymore pick a fight at the red without LG. It's just so devastating. You just get pinned in the corner. And it's actually quite possible to deny it. Just
Oh,
to
yeah.
stay at the red area, then when you take the red, you go to the middle level, try to maybe control the yellow from there, and just keep denying the weapon. I should try that, thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something I was thinking of, like kind of wondering why no one has really tried it as well. Because the position is pretty almost as bad as the Mega Health itself as well. And as you say, the red armor area benefits much from the LG and Rapha. He doesn't need to be thinking about any advanced strategies right now or any crazy tactical plays, because at the moment he's doing the basics right and he's catching off Sparks. And this is something we saw in the EU Cup, that Spotty didn't have enough respect for the implications of the Mega room and the Mega pickup itself. I think it's fair to say, and Rapha, you can see he's very deliberate. He only takes that Mega when he knows it's safe. He uses it for as long as possible to bait, should that be the optimal way to use that. And he manages to make sure that every time that Mega is up, he uses it to his advantage. Spark's going to find him off the spawn. Finally, no, doesn't get the kill in fact. Rapha will survive. And this is becoming quite a painful match.
And last game I had the impression that Spark's aim was way better than Rapha's, and I actually thought this might play a big factor on this map. But it's quite the opposite. It seems like Rapha's aim really stepped up in this game, they've been at least even in the even department, if not a small advantage for Rapha. He's just so spot on this one. Let's check the percentages. Actually, he has 32%, but he used it way more than Sparks.
So 10 frag lead, it's 3 minutes left. This is a map where you can work the spawns, spawn some of the spawn frags, but that's also something we haven't seen too
Well, to be honest,
too much.
To be honest, I know there's one spawn frag, which is just happening all the time when you're on the red and you're spawning in front of you. And it seems like it's a very common spawn point. I don't know why, it just happens so often. But I don't know about any other spawn kills. And I've never seen them happen as well. It seems to be like the only
We should
one.
ask Backstein. He always used to find these things out first.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a spawn visualization yet for this map. I haven't...
I think there might be. I think Memento was actually working on it. I'm not sure if it got released though. But either way, Sparks is going to get released from this tournament because Rapha is... This is the second map, and Rapha won the first. That means that he's going to go through.
That's interesting. That's a good observation.
I'm good at making such observations. I've done this before. Be surprised to learn that, but it's true. It is true.
So Sparks, I think Sparks' big problem on this map is just he didn't play out of control properly. He had a great power, got 3 frags very quickly, and then as he died the first time, he kept playing too aggressive. He kept focusing on the wrong items, on the red in particular, whereas he should just be getting the yellows and the greens and never even go to the red area. So dangerous.
3 health. Poor Sparks unable to end Rapha's life. There we go, but 7 health remains. So 12 frags, a minute and 40 seconds. Not going to happen, I think it's fair to say. Rapha, I think he has done the job on clear. And speaking of map pools though, because of course after the summer season we will make the change to the map pools for our Sunday Cups. So what would you love to see? What would Twister love to see? Okay, Errol, That's one
I
week.
think we already discussed that.
But
It's pretty
on
obvious
stream-
what the map pool should be. I think apart from Airwalk, what you could consider doing is also adding T7 and Hectic.
Do you think it should be 5 maps or 7 maps?
1 minute warning.
Generally, I think the less maps, the better,
Okay.
just because it gives players a chance to practice them better and become better and have a higher level of play. And the more maps you have, what will usually happen is that some players will just not play all of the maps, just because it's too much to practice, and actually practicing those maps takes away from your skill on the others. So at some point when you have like 7 maps, and it's especially when it's drop, you'll just have maps that aren't played.
That was
Because
my next
It
question.
starts being pointless
What
learning
is the
them as
picking
well.
format? Pick or drop?
I think my ideal system would be like 5 maps and pick, because not only would it mean that there's some sort of variety, at the same time it's not too much, but also nobody can say, right, I'm not playing this map. And in turn it means that for you it is viable to just practice a map and get really good on it. Because with the drop format, you practice a map, you get really good in it, and then everybody just drops it against you. And it can be really frustrating because you put all this effort into it, and then you just can never get to play the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point, but at the end there, we have Rapha defeating Sparks 2-0. Seemed relatively easy, although, of course, Bloodrun was a little bit tricky to begin with. So good job to Sparks for keeping up the level that he displayed in the last clash between the two. And we're going to go to a quick break, guys. When we come back, of course, we have the other semi-final to decide who plays against Rapha in the grand final. It's going to be either Chance or Ray. Stay tuned.